Hey yo, E King's Fight News back in the building. Eddie Hearn is going over. He's mulling over Anthony Joshua's options after Big Baby Miller. And I was just talking about this morning because I said, don't be surprised. Eddie Hearn comes out in the media, talks about AJ's got to fight his mandatories. AJ's got some mandatories, dude. Wasn't I just talking about this shit? Well, guess what? Eddie Hearn, back at it. It's E King Fight News, and we got more on this. Alright, so y'all know what it is. The headline at Boxing Scene reads, and hold up while I blaze. If no Wilder, then Joshua still got Alexander Usyk. Joshua still got Kubrat Pulev. And Joshua may fight someone else. But the fight that they want, of course, is Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Now, I'm pretty sure Eddie Hearn's not going to be in a rush to make the Kubrat Pulev fight. I mean, Pulev did have an opportunity to get that fight, and he did not deliver. Pulev didn't show up. Pulev pulled out. And that is why Anthony Joshua ended up fighting Carlos Takam. Now, let's get into it. What is Eddie Hearn saying here? It's E King Fight News. Alright, so y'all see it, man. Shout out to Boxing Scene. If no Wilder, then Joshua faces Usyk, Pulev, and others. Now, in case you didn't know, it's Wednesday, so that means Eddie Hearn did a 1-hour interview with IFL TV. That's what it means. And hey, shout out to Eddie, man. Shout out to Eddie. Ain't nobody doing 1-hour interviews like that is this deep in the game of boxing, man. You got Bob Arum. Yeah, you don't do no 1-hour interviews. You got Al Heyman. He don't do any interviews. You got Shelly Finkel. You know, Shelly Finkel might do an hour. I don't know. I really don't know. But this is what Eddie had to say. I mean, don't get me wrong. If a title was vacated, we still fight Wilder, but it wouldn't be the undisputed fight. That's the golden chalice. that's the crown jewel, right? So that's why we want it to happen in November, December. Wow. He wants it in November, December. I hope this isn't what we went through in 2018 all over again. But now he wants to fight November, December. In terms of mandatory defenses, the WBO will come against Alexander Usyk. The IBF has Kubrat Pulev. And the WBA mandatory will get designated at some point. WBO with Usyk, IBF with Pulev is after the WBO mandatory. So wait a second. The WBO with Usyk will come before the IBF with Pulev? Is that what Eddie Hearn is saying? IBF with Pulev is after the WBO mandatory, and then there would be the WBA, which is not set. So Joshua's going to have a logjam of mandatories. So after Miller, he's either going to fight Wilder or another fight, or more likely, Alexander Usyk. AJ's fight with Wilder may not be a unification bout. If that doesn't happen this year, if he fights the undisputed fight, then he's got to fight Usyk after. Then he's got to fight Pulev as another mandatory after that. And then he's got to fight the WBA one. So that's when you get into the realms of, are we vacating a belt here? Klitschko never vacated a belt, but he got criticized because of the mandatories were put in front of him. Was it Tony Thompson he fought twice? It was. Eddie knows some shit about boxing. Because Vladimir Klitschko did fight Tony Thompson twice. He did fight a cruiserweight named Jean-Marc Mormac. Yeah, you probably never heard of that guy, but he was also from Quebec. But yeah, man. Klitschko has a long list of bums on that resume, man. Oh my goodness. Fought Eddie Chambers. Dude fought Brian Jennings when Brian Jennings was worth fighting, but he knew he would beat Brian Jennings. He fought Sam Peter at a point where he was coming back into the game. He fought a few guys, man. He fought a lot of guys I forgot about. Because they ain't shit. But anyways, you already know. Oh, but he did fight David Haye. He did fight Povetkin back when Povetkin was some kind of a challenge. They were both juiced up in that fight, man. No question about it. They were both juiced up. But you know what? Anthony AJ Joshua is pretty quiet on the topic. He seems to be focused on Jarrell Miller. Eddie Hearn out here. Gotta say, as a promoter, he does do his job. You know, he's constantly trying to hype up this Wilder AJ fight. He's constantly putting that out there that they want to make the fight happen. Take it with a grain of salt. We don't know if it's all true. But what we do know is it seems like that, I'm just being honest, it seems like that side of the equation wants to make this fight happen sooner rather than later. For whatever reason. That's music to my ears. And I think come May 18th, when Deontay Wilder wipes out Dominic, Trouble, Brazil, there needs to be some talk about this fight. There needs to be some kind of, whether it's a post-fight interview, whether AJ, will he show up? Will AJ show up for the fight? You know you're fighting in New York 2 weeks later. You might as well head down to the Barclays and make something happen. You know, shit like that. Like this is old school shit that fighters like of the past would do. They would show up at fights. They would show up at the press conferences. And they would wreak havoc, man. Even back when Erislandy Lara was looking for a fight, you know what he did? He stepped to Canelo at a post-fight presser. After he beat up on Little Angulo, you know, after he beat up on Pero Angulo, Erislandy Lara stepped to him and said, "Hey, you know, fans think you're ducking me, right?" He said some shit like that. He stepped to Canelo, and Canelo got, you know, Canelo's manhood, you know, suddenly came into play and said, "I want to beat this dude's ass now, make this fight happen." And credit to Canelo, he made that Lara fight happen. It was a good fight. Damn near lost that fight. Could this be that situation? Hard to say. You know, it seems like the stock of Deontay Wilder has risen unquestionably, and it seems like this whole negotiation has been about fair compensation towards what could be considered the A side in the U.S. I've always said this fight is so it's so polarizing because you have AJ, who was universally considered the A side of the equation in 2018. That was before Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. That was before they did very well on pay-per-view for a first outing. And that is before Tyson Fury went on some type of egotistical breakdown, decided he wouldn't be fighting Deontay Wilder in the rematch, and he'd run over to ESPN. Things have changed, right? Wilder is commanding his own pay-per-views now, right? Whether it's with Tyson Fury, whether it's Luis Ortiz, they could have done that on pay-per-view. They could still be trying to make a Luis Ortiz pay-per-view. They could still be trying to do that. But the real question is, does Team Wilder head over to Eddie Hearn and make another offer that they cannot refuse? Does Al Heyman break the bank and say, AJ, let me give you $80 million. Let's do a fight? Does something like that happen? Is a real question. Because it's a tough fight. It's gonna be history in the making. If we can finally get an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, it's what the fans want to see. It's what all the networks, can profit off of. And it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think about Eddie Hearn bringing up all the mandatories once again, trying to say, hey, Pulev is out there. Usyk is the likely opponent if it's not going to be Deontay Wilder. What do y'all think about it, man? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? And what would you think about an Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk? Remember, I told you guys maybe 3 or 4 months ago that would be the next fight. That would be AJ's next fight would likely be against Alexander Usyk. Who said that shit, man? E-King's Fight News, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Anyways, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But we got more on this. But what's interesting is now Eddie Hearn has brought something into the equation that all of his fans, all of them are diehard fans. AJ's got 3 belts. AJ's got 4 belts. He's the A-side. He deserves whatever, whatever the fuck you think. Eddie Hearn has finally brought up something that was an inevitable possibility. AJ's got all these titles. And as I've said before, all them titles, how much does it really mean if you ain't selling out in the U.S.? How much does it really mean if, okay. Anthony Joshua broke some kind of a pre-sale record because Eddie Hearn's got StubHub backing him. Essentially, he's got StubHub and some third parties that will buy up these tickets real quick. And we'll try and resell. Now we're going to see if they have success on the resale market. We'll see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I'm pretty sure. I think the gate will do well for New York. No doubt about it. It could be a hot fight. AJ Miller, heavyweight championship fight in Madison Square Garden. The media's going to be there. Will the UK fans show up? Will there be a UK contingent willing to come over for Anthony Joshua? That's what I want to know. But more importantly, will AJ vacate a title that he covets so much? Would he vacate a title if he was advised to by Eddie Hearn? Is the other question. Personally, I'm not too sure, but I think at some point that does become a conversation. For obvious reasons. But let me know what you guys think. It's E-King Fight News, and we're out. Peace.